Welcome everyone to the Bridgewater Conservation Commission. It is October 27th and it is 5:34 p.m. We do have a quorum as of right now, so we're going to open the meeting. I just said it's 5:34. For the record, members of the staff that are present, we have Harry Bailey, member, Sarah Sperber, member, Steve Sobel, environmental planner, Nick Salvo, executive assistant, and myself, Wendy Smith, chair. For the record, the members, oh no, I just read that. Oh my goodness. Hello. I'll now read the governor's order for online meetings into the record. Disclosure pursuant to Section 20 of Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. This meeting of the Conservation Commission for the town of Bridgewater will be hybrid and accessible to the public through remote participation to the greatest extent possible. There will be no public attendance permitted. Citizens who wish to tune into the meeting may do so via Zoom. The link is attached in the agenda, which is online, with the phone number and the meeting ID number. On the agenda tonight, we don't have anything under new business. Under old business public hearings, we have an ANRAD for 0 and 1300 Vernon Street. Map 124, lot 2, 81, 6, and 12. We have a notice of intent for 6 Aldrich Road, map 20, lot 77. And then under Conservation Commission business, we have 3 certificates of compliance. One is for 5 Enright Way, map 3, lot 41. Another for 16 Greenleaf Road, map 97, lot 10. And the last one for 81 Arrowhead Drive, map 13, lot 53. We do not have any administrative items tonight, but we do have some discussion items with the environmental planner at the close of the meeting. Okay, so first on the agenda tonight, is the ANRAD for 0 and 1300 Vernon Street. We are gonna hold off on that just for a little bit. We're waiting for one more member to come in who may possibly have information that was supposed to be shared. If not, we'll circle back around to it at the end and we'll see where we're at. So if you're here for Vernon Street, hang tight because we will get back to that tonight, okay?
Steve, do we need a motion on that?
Nope.
Okay.
Next, under public hearings for old business, we have a notice of intent for 6 Aldrich Road, map 20, lot 77. Nicole, I think you have a continuance letter request. So for the record, dear commission members, Silva Engineering Associates would like to request a continuation from October 27th meeting to the next meeting scheduled for November 10th, 2022. This request will allow the town engineer to review the response to comments prior to the next hearing. If you have any questions or require any additional information, please contact me. Sincerely, Lawrence Silva, PESE President. So that will be continued. So I will need a motion to continue.
Motion to continue.
And then 6 Aldrich Road.
Yeah.
6 Aldrich Road.
Thank you. And Harry, you second.
Yes, I did.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Sarah Sperber,
Aye.
Harry Bailey,
Aye.
and myself, Wendy Smith, aye. Okay, so under Conservation Commission business, we have the first certificate of compliance for 5 Enright Way, map 3, lot 41. The applicant representative is Debbie Holcomb. So we'll hear from Debbie first, if she's on and would like to say something
Madam
regarding
Chair,
this.
this one is actually a follow-up from last week. This is the one Eileen cannot take part in because she's related to the sale of the home.
Mhm.
So therefore, we just need it to be voted by 3 members that can vote. And seeing as we have that tonight, I don't know if you remember it, I can briefly go over it again.
Can
This
you,
is a-
because and Sarah wasn't here,
Yeah,
so,
so this filing for this certificate of compliance is an older filing. It's across the street from the wetland of record. It's actually an old detention basin that has sort of turned into a wetland over time. And they're looking for this certificate of compliance to close out a real estate sale. That's the main reason. The site is stable. It's pretty much all lawn, and it's basically just looking for that approval that will get it off the deed so it can be sold. Again, the order, I believe in this case, we got to start putting the file numbers back on the agenda. I believe it was like 795. So it was almost 20 years old. So
okay. So do any members have any questions or concerns?
No, I mean, Steve doesn't sound like he has any concern, so I think we're good.
Okay, Harry, are you all set with that?
I'm all set with it.
All right. Would one of you like to make a motion to issue?
Motion to issue the certificate of compliance for 6 Enright Way,
5.
5 Enright Way.
All
I
right,
will second.
thank you. And a roll call vote, Harry Bailey,
Aye.
Sarah Sperber,
Aye.
and myself, Wendy Smith. Aye. Thank you. The next certificate of compliance is for 16 Greenleaf Road, map 97, lot 10. Applicant representative is Jacqueline Ventura, law offices of Cheryl A. Bernard. Is someone in the applicant or representative that would like to just share on the property?
I'm not seeing any, but this was also submitted by a law office. There's my file number 795. But the other one was of a similar age. So if you want, I can give you a brief report on this one as well, and then you guys can be ready to make a decision, hopefully.
Okay, please.
Fine.
So Nicole, could you bring up was that the plan for this one? Or was that the previous one?
This is Greenleaf.
Right, but I did see Nicole scroll by a
That was
plan.
81 Arrowhead Drive.
Okay, that was okay, yeah, this is the one where,
I don't have a plan for this one.
yes, yeah. This is, yeah, it's coming back to me now. Sorry about that. So this site, as you can see by the age, it's 22 years old. It's a single family home with associated appurtenances, a shed. The particular feature that I like about this property is that there is a clear definition between the fill line on site and the wetland because it physically steps down from the green lawn area down into the wetland area. So there's a clear line of demarcation separating what is allowed to be constructed and utilized as yard and what is not. It's a very clear distinction. That being said, we did not find any engineered files because of the age of the file. I spoke it over with the law firm that submitted this and said, you know, a statement from the engineer who requested the order of conditions might be necessary, but after viewing the site and seeing how stable it was and realizing that this is another application for a real estate transaction, I didn't notice anything on site that was going on that was an enforcement matter or a violation. Therefore, I would suggest the issuance of this certificate of compliance.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Sarah, do you have any questions?
Nope, that summed it up well.
Okay. Harry, do you have any questions?
No.
All right. Does somebody want to make a motion to issue?
I'll make a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for 16 Greenleaf Road.
Thank
I
you.
will
and
second.
Thank you. And with that, a roll call vote. Harry Bailey,
Aye.
Sarah Sperber,
Aye.
and myself, Wendy Smith. Aye. Thank you. Moving on, we have the last certificate of compliance is for 81 Arrowhead Drive, map 13, lot 53. The applicant representative is Collins Engineering.
Typically, we see Dave Cladert for these. I believe this one was submitted by the actual homeowner though, and he may have just gotten a copy of the as-built on his septic system. So basically, you could see it right here on the screen. You can see the bank behind the septic system. It's actually perched up next to the property. It's all covered by green grass. Again, it's another well-defined separation between what happened here with the home being constructed at the top of this bank, filtering down into the wetland. My only concern on this would be an actual failure of the septic system. It is contained with a retaining wall on all sides. But as far as my site visit went, I saw, again, no signs of other violations or enforcement issues on site. The septic system, all the grass above it had stabilized. There was no blowouts, because that's the first concern with a slope like this leading directly down to the wetland. Therefore, because of those factors, I would suggest the issuance of a certificate of compliance on this project.
Okay. Thank you. Harry, do you have any questions or comments?
No,
Sarah?
Was this like, was it a septic tank they just put in, Steve, or is this old and they just need it for something else?
The plan, there should be a date on this plan. This was drawn on 11/20/15.
Oh, okay.
the
So it's been there a while.
So it's been there for probably 6-7 years.
Gotcha. Okay. No other questions. I was just curious.
Sure.
I like the idea of the retaining wall.
Mm,
I mean, hopefully that gives some depth that it would help protect a little bit if there was ever an issue, but.
Hopefully, that's the
Right.
theoretical.
I mean,
that's
it's
the-
still fairly new, but I mean, they look
Well,
like they put a good plan into place for it, what they
Hopefully-
needed to do.
Hopefully, by the time this may fail, we have this road sewered in town.
Ah,
So,
that would be
you
good.
know,
I
That's
like
sort
that
of-
plan better.
that's the impetus.
A little
here. Hopefully,
easier.
You know, maybe we can get another 10-15 years out of a system that's already 7 years old. So, if as long as it's taken care of, they can last for a real long time. So,
I
right.
remember this one. This is one that we stated that we wanted the wall in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So I make a motion that we issue the certificate of compliance for 81 Arrowhead Drive.
I will
Thank
second.
Thank you. All right, and with that, we have a roll call vote. Sarah Sperber,
Aye.
Harry Bailey,
Aye.
and myself, Wendy Smith. Aye. All right, thank you. That concludes those. So now we're gonna loop back around, and I guess, did Eileen come in?
I did not see her. I do not currently see anyone in the waiting room. So having a quorum, this is really up to you. I know we do have the applicant's representative here as well.
Okay.
So
All right, so we're still in the public hearing for the old business for the NRAD for 0 and 1300 Vernon Street, map 124, lot 281, 6 and 12. And the applicant representative is Silva Engineering and Manuel and Jennifer Bujinga. So who's on? Is anybody on for the applicant?
I am here.
Hi, Rebecca.
Hello. I don't know if Minnie's on. I don't think so.
I didn't see him.
small crowd tonight.
He was on under the wife's name the last time, I think. So do you have anything that you would like to say or add?
I have nothing to add. I hope we do issue an ORAD of sorts, whether it be subject to not the ditches and everything else is okay, or however you want to issue it, but
Okay. Steve, do you want to say anything on this?
I really don't have any more to add besides the public comment that I directed to you before the meeting that needs to be added in for the public record.
Okay. Commission members, what, can you, Nicole, bring up the document piece of the ORAD that has what's been accepted and might be using the wrong wording. Accepted and unaccepted, or what's
What
the
you
wording?
agree with, what, like the items you agree
In
with? yeah.
agreement, yeah,
Yep, give me 1 second.
The
okay.
4 items.
I just want to review that for us, for the commission members, and then I will open to the public. Accurate and inaccurate, that's what they were. Okay, so what this ORAD says is what is accurate, the boundaries described on the referenced plans above, which was the plans that we've been seeing, and in the abbreviated notice of resource area delineation are accurately drawn for the following resource areas. All the bordering vegetated wetlands and other resource areas, specifically the bank, land under water bodies and waterways, bordering vegetated wetlands, bordering subject to flooding, riverfront area, and Snowsbrook. The inaccurate that we're in somewhat disagreement with, the boundaries described on the reference plans and in the abbreviated notice of resource area delineation were found to be inaccurate and cannot be confirmed for the following resource areas. The bordering vegetative wetlands, those would be the 2 areas where the ditches in question are coming out of, right? If I'm incorrect, Steve, you can clarify that those would be considered bordering vegetative wetlands, and they're not right now, they're isolated. And then the ditches that lead away from the N series and D series wetlands are intermittent streams, and by defined as streams, make the N series and D series wetlands bordering vegetative wetlands. So we have 2 parts. We have that the majority of the work that we have been given and shown that's been done, we agree with, we believe that they're accurate. Inaccurate are the 2 N and D series, and the ditches that lead from them. So with that being said, Harry, do you have anything that you want to just discuss with this?
No,
Okay. Sarah, do you have anything that you want to discuss with this?
No, I think this is pretty clear. Either we accept the accurate and the partial ORAD, or we just don't accept it at all. I'm leaning
Mhm.
toward accepting the partial is my opinion. Either one of
Okay.
those I'd be happy with.
All right.
Because we've just been talking in circles about this at this point. So
Yes, I agree. And I too, but I'm gonna open it to the public. And then we can talk about, after we close the hearing, we'll talk about how what we're gonna do. So we'll open it to the abutters, if there's anybody on that would like to say anything about those particular areas, again, that we discussed, that we showed at the last meeting and that we're discussing right now. Is there anybody that wants to say, oh, before I do that, I will open it up, but I do have a letter from an abutter that I'm gonna read into the record because they're not on. Dear Commissioners, my name is Kevin Newton, and I have been trying to follow this project since its original hearing. First, I want to thank the Commission and staff for taking a deservedly critical view of this project. It is not an easy task to review a complex project with conflicting interests over multiple hearings. I would caution the Commission from seeking additional information regarding the ANRAD confirmation, in addition to the opinion that was already provided by Mr. Burns. The whole purpose of a third-party review should be to provide a non-biased critical review of the project, which can be used to make a sound decision based on information received and researched. Mr. Burns is a certified wetland scientist, has a highly reputable background, and has come to a conclusion based on the definitions of the Wetlands Protections Act and his findings in the field. The Commission has solid standing in arguing against the accuracy of the submitted ORAD. Confirming the ORAD as submitted, in my opinion, would be a violation of the Wetlands Protection Act. I implore the commission to stand by their process and to issue a decision supported by the information provided by BSC Group, and to stand firm in finding that the portion of the ORAD regarding the wetland series D and F are inaccurate. This finding should be able to be included in your decision and should be specific to these wetland series and any other inaccuracies. While this may be difficult finding to make as a commission, this is the correct finding. If the applicant is dissatisfied with the findings of the commission, it is their right to appeal. If appealed, the DEP would then take over the review of the application and provide their own findings. Based on the facts presented, I would be extremely surprised if the applicant were to have any success appealing this ORAD to the Commonwealth. Thank you again for your thoughtful consideration and deliberation on this matter. Sincerely, Kevin Newton, 1370 Vernon Street, Bridgewater, Mass. Wildlife biologist, NH Fish and Game Department. So with that being said, from an abutter, is there anybody else on in the meeting that would like to say anything with regards to the decision that we're making tonight with the ORAD?
Madam Chair, Shane Veronese is raising his hand.
Okay, thank you. Shane, can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Shane Veronese, and I live at 1188 Vernon Street. One of the main, I actually am, one of two main abutters to this project. The ORAD, if the commission decides to vote and go forward with this, what is the next process? What's the next step in the process with this? Like, what's going to happen after this? So I know.
Okay. Fair question. Steve, can I go to you for this?
Yeah. So, Madam Chair, what happens after this would be the order of resource area delineation would be issued. Then there would be an opportunity for 10 business days after that period to ask for an appeal from the Commonwealth. That can come from abutters, that can come from the applicant, that can come from a group of non-abutters that aren't directly abutting the site. But there's then, once it's issued, it would be recorded at the Registry of Deeds by the applicant if they agree with it, of course. So there's a lot of things that can kind of happen from this point on. It's dependent on what the applicant really wants to do and what abutters want to do with the information after the decision is made.
Okay. I also have another question. The last meeting, Harry Bailey had mentioned that he would contact the Taunton Watershed. And Eileen Prisco had mentioned that the DEP should get involved somehow. Did either one of them come out to the site and check from the last meeting?
That's why I was holding.
Go ahead, I'm sorry. No, go
No, I was
ahead.
going to say, that's why we were waiting for Eileen to come on, because I thought that she had spoken with somebody, the circuit rider that's, I believe, from Taunton. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that.
Okay, so, but according to last meeting, those two organizations were gonna get involved. And then you guys were gonna make a vote according to that with everything else.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything that they were on site or had given you any kind of documentation, what they felt. So I don't think there should be a vote to move forward at this point. That's all that's what I'm worried about. is that it
Mhm.
was mentioned they were gonna get involved and now they're not. And I do have one other thing.
Can I answer to make a comment to that?
Yeah,
One thing, the reason why we wanted to get the two, just to get some feedback, it wouldn't have changed. They wouldn't have really, they would have either said, these are intermittent streams, which would
right,
change
but you would have
sections.
had
But
some more
we
advice.
would go round and round, because if the applicant isn't willing to do any more, we're not gonna do any more. BSC has done a great job and has marked
Yes, they have.
things. So we can accept or, make a motion to pass the ORAD if that's what we choose to do.
Yeah.
With the inaccurate parts in place.
Okay.
So if anything was to be done out there, because these are inaccurate, that would need to be clarified before anything could possibly get done out back. So nothing would happen. It's just a matter, I think, of putting closure on this. And I think, Harry, if I can ask you, do you have anything that you want to add about the Taunton watershed?
Yes, I didn't say we're going out there during hunting season either.
Oh,
We go on Google Earth and we can look back. I've lived in this town since 1979. I know all the wooded areas because I used to hunt every piece of Bridgewater.
Yeah.
Go on Google Earth
Okay.
and look at it, right? I also have a telephone and I talk to all the members that need to be. And they all agree with what I'm gonna do tonight.
And that's fine, but that's why they make Hunter orange coloring to go into the woods at this time of year. Okay, if you want to play that. The other thing that I have concerns with, and I talked to Steve several months ago about this, and he said it was up to the commission. And I want to hear it from the commission now, if you all agree that when Stan Kravitz was ordered to put that pile back the way to the original landscape that was, he did not. He made a swimming.
Sorry, Shane, that,
Shane, no, I know, I'm gonna interject. That doesn't have anything to do with this particular ORAD. I know that you might be disturbed by another area, but we have to stick with what is in front of us right now. So I'm just gonna have to ask that we don't have that. Can you unmute him for a second? Shane, you were muted. Is that something that he has control over, or you, Steve?
I've asked him to unmute.
Shane, you need to unmute.
Yes.
There you go. You were muted. Did you hear what I?
Yeah, this
do you
has to do
understand?
with the, yes, I understand that, but that was also an issue with this whole project, which should be included in that. And I'm not
I-
the only one. All my neighbors have to look at that every single day.
I
It's
think
not-
that was already, that's already been
And that's
that's already-
acceptable?
dealt with.
It has? Have you been out here and seen? what he
You know
did?
what, that area though is, and again, I want to get back to this, but that particular area is not in the wetland. It's out on somebody's property and it's not out
Okay,
interfering
was there a,
with the wetland anymore.
was there and were there permits pulled to do that? I don't think there was. There was no issue, no work.
No, they
order.
had to get rid of and take that pile down and pull it back away from where that area was, the 200-foot buffer. They needed to move it, and they did. However, they did that. That's not having to do with us anymore.
Okay,
All right, I'm
Okay.
sorry, I can't help you out with anything other than that, but thank you for sharing your opinion tonight. We are gonna discuss this now with the board and make a decision on what we're gonna do. Thank you, Shane.
thank you.
Steve, is there anybody else?
I am not seeing any.
All right. Well, with no other comments from abutters or the public, back to the commissioners. I think we need to close the public hearing and then we can vote on how we're gonna vote. So do I have a motion to close the hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Thank
I
you,
will second.
thank you. Roll call vote, Harry Bailey,
Aye.
Sarah Sperber,
Aye.
and myself, Wendy Smith. Aye. All right, so now we're down to it to make a decision on this ORAD. So I don't know, I mean, I would suggest that we approve it as it's been presented by the ORAD by the town staff with its accurate pieces and its inaccurate pieces. And move forward from that. That would be my suggestion. But Sarah,
I agree. My suggestion is we do that. Because I mean, it is what it is at this point. They've done their due diligence on what we've asked them and have made it clear that they don't want to do anything else. So
okay. Harry,
Madam Chair, I'll make the motion
okay,
that we go with item number 3, inaccurate, the N&D series. We go along with the Kevin Newton from his letter that he put today. We hired a third-party reviewer, and this was part of his decision, and I vote that we should go along with it.
okay, and that, I don't know if we have to just make sure that we have in 4, 0 and 1300 Vernon Street.
All right,
All right, Sarah,
I
Second.
will second the partial ORAD.
Okay, Steve, help me out here, because
I apologize for interrupting. Yeah, Harry, can you be clear? Are you asking for the partial accurate and inaccurate or full inaccurate?
partial inaccurate on the N&D series.
Thank you, Harry.
That's
That
what I thought he said.
I'm sorry. I just
Thank
wanted to
you,
make sure I had it right.
okay, so on the partial accurate and partial inaccurate, that's what we're saying. Okay. All right, good. So we have a motion, we have a second, and now we have a roll call vote. Harry Bailey,
Aye.
Sarah Sperber,
Aye.
Wendy Smith, aye. Thank you so much, everybody. 0 and 1300 Vernon Street is closed.
Been a while.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca, for all your work. So all we have left is some discussion items.
Yes.
Yes,
And that's directed at me, Madam Chair, I assume.
that is, I'm
um,
sorry. Yes, environmental planner, Steve
Yeah,
Solomon.
so you see it as the environmental planner report, and Wendy had brought an item to my attention. And this was via Harry, and an interest in starting to put the PVC pipes back on the wetland edge prior to items making the hearing agenda. In this case, the way the bylaw is written, anything that is up for an order of conditions, so that would be notices of intent only, would need to have the edge of the wetland staked with green 40 series PVC piping to be spray painted green and to remain there in perpetuity. Now, I understand the reasons for, my personal opinion is I wonder if there's a better way to do it rather than green PVC piping tubes. And maybe that's something we can have a discussion on, is some sort of clear markers, but maybe moving away from the green PVC pipes and to more of a natural or signage, require maybe signage on trees or something to that effect. Because I understand, Harry, we're trying to make it so that future owners of properties understand where their wetlands are and are cognizant of that, so we don't get into as many enforcement and violation situations as we see. So I just wanted to, Wendy brought it to my attention, and I just wanted to kind of talk about it with you guys to see if we wanted to maybe change the verbiage or change what, is placed on the wetland edge, or maybe not. It's up to you guys. So.
Yes, so when I went to the MAP conference, 2 weekends ago, I met someone, we had a discussion about permanent markers, and she sent me, like a listing of their special conditions. And we were talking about it, and one thing that they give options. I'm trying to find out where the heck it is in here. She sent me like all their special conditions, which there's a whole bunch of them. But with an NOI on the border, every 50 feet along the border of the wetlands, they could put a boulder. There's a poundage of the boulder so that it's not going to be moved. There was, I wish I could find it. I'm sorry. I apologize that I'm not like ready. Okay, it says, their thing was, it says prior to the initiation of any work, I don't know if it has to be done before the work, but whatever. Applicant shall mark the line with no disturbance by installation of permanent markers as shown in the plans that shall consist of, pick one of the following. Cement permanent markers, that could be kind of dangerous with little kids running around scraping legs. But they had like a large 1,000-pound or greater in size boulder. Of course, it would depend on the size, but like every 50 feet. They also have like a signage. It would be marked every 50 feet. I believe it's those metal steel U type things that would go in the grounds that would have a I don't know, aluminum. I should have looked at this a little closer. Maybe I won't take everybody's time up trying to read it right now, but I think that if we came up with some things that we could put a special order of conditions in when somebody is building property on a wetland, so that when somebody sells the house 20 years from now, there's something that at least is marked, a boulder with a sign on it that says, wetlands, contact Conservation Commission with any questions. There's some type of a sign. It could be on a pole that's, higher so that people can see it. I don't think it would disturb any kind of wildlife that would be moving through. And I guess if we came up with a few things, we could, would it be to write an amendment or something? What would it be, Nicole? We were talking about that yesterday.
We'd have to go to town council to adjust the language within the bylaw.
Yep, Steve's right.
So we would come up with the ideas. We would write something up and then go to town council with it.
Sure. Yeah. No,
So-
I think it's a great idea. And I think it's something that's needed for our residents' awareness of where wetland edges are and who to contact when they run into one of these signs. That's one of my major downfalls of the PVC piping is you could see those pipings, but a lot of people might assume there's something else.
Right.
So, and I do get concerned about the amount of work it may take to anchor those things and put them down. Because I mean, according to the reg, they're supposed to be buried almost 3 feet underground as well. So that's quite a bit. So it's a temporary disturbance, but depending on what's underneath the ground, that's going to take, it's very labor intensive. I know we don't really worry about project cost here or labor, but it is something to keep in mind, just sort of in the periphery, is labor cost and some of these things that we're doing for demarcation and trying to make it fair for the residents on the other side to say, they don't want to do anything because aesthetically, you don't want signs in your backyard. You don't want, pipes in your backyard. You don't want flagging after you're done with your project that all typically comes down or gets ripped down. But there probably is a scenario where if we did have a list of items that people could choose, sure, they might pick the one that they prefer. And some of them might say, hey, I'll do the PVC piping because I have that stuff and I can just do it really easily myself once I get the flags up. So just a thought, something for you guys to think on. Wendy, you brought up special conditions. It's something I'm working on right now. I've been compiling all of the conditions from orders issued over the years, and I've put them into one kind of master document. And I've been paring them down based on duplicates and paring them down based on if they're too specific, maybe it was written for this one project and they don't really apply to anything else.
Mhm.
But eventually the goal is that I will have a list, a master list that I will distribute to all of you that will have the special conditions that you guys can reference by number and say, I think we should add special condition number 13 to this one, the one that applies to, you know, this type of demarcation of the wetland line. You
It's a
know,
great
so
idea.
so it would make it easier for you guys. You'd have the references there right next to your computer. So you could be like, hey guys, what did we think about special condition number 13 on this one? And then
Mhm.
you're all looking at the same thing. We're trying to make more of these tools available to you guys so that you're more cohesive during the meeting, like looking at the same stuff. And hopefully here sometime soon we're back in person.
Right.
person.
So I guess, yeah, I mean, will you guys think about it? Think about what types of markers that we, you know, could be used for, I like the boulders. I mean, the houses that are being built now are so big and so many people have large boulders in their yard. They've got them on the front lawn. They've got them on, like, they have them around. They're kind of a natural type of thing. It's just with the boulder, you'd need to somehow be able to put a sign on it that it would also know, like, it doesn't have to be big, could be at the base of it, but just with the Conservation Commission, the number, you know, in case there was any questions or whatever, people weren't sure. If people buy a house, nobody tells them about it, and they see this big boulder and they think they want to get it removed, but then they see a sign that says, you know, whatever, have questions about this boulder? Like, I don't know, whatever the wording is, but like, we could come up with like the wording for signage, different types of markers that could be used. You know, maybe I can start an email and just have, you know, we can see and talk about it and go back and forth until we get something together. And then, you know, we can meet.
So I mean, I think in general, it's a good idea. I think some of it is a bit excessive. I want to know if it's actually successful and helpful. If we're gonna like take the time to do this, is it actually worth the time is my question. Like, do people actually pay attention to these things, or this is an experiment to see if they pay attention, whether it's a rock or a sign, whatever? Did they give you that information on which one was better? That's what I want to know before we decide which one, because
Madam,
that makes the most sense to me.
I can reach out and find out if she's got information. Harry, you want to say something?
okay, I was present when this came up. There was like 5 commissioners and 2 alternates. I don't know
Mhm.
whether I was an alternate or whether I was sitting in the audience. They debated this. They went over all kinds of scenarios. And this was the best they came up with. The pipe shouldn't, we changed it, I believe. We used to have them all green, but we changed it to the white pipe with a green cap. And that way it stood out because the grass would grow and everything would be green and you didn't see it. But this way with a white pipe and a green top, and it's worked all these years. It lasts. There's some down the transfer station that have been there 20, 30 years. And they're still there.
Mhm.
So you can find them. I've never heard of anybody getting hurt on them. Boulders, I don't go along with putting boulders in the yard. Little
Well, that's
kids,
like people would have an option. We're just
Yeah.
trying to give people options.
well, I go along with that. You can do options, but
Yeah.
the PVC piping has worked fine. So.
I mean, and it depends on the,
That commission discussed it for at least 2 hours.
oh yeah,
So
yeah, I don't want to have that 2-hour discussion tonight.
No.
they went over it and over it. all the
Personally,
different-
I wouldn't go with PVC pipe. I wouldn't go with it because I think it's ugly and it's plastic and it's sticking out of the ground. Like I can't stand those things that you drive by and poor people that have to have the septic systems put in and they got a big white pipe in the front of their yard, you know, like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, the red pipe.
The Yeah, the wetlands are supposed to be, nice. It's supposed to be, natural area. And then you go sticking a PVC pipe in the lawn. Doesn't make sense to me,
Yeah,
but
Madam Chair, I just
Yes.
have
We'll go over it.
something on the boulders. My only concern there is we're starting to get to a point in Bridgewater where a lot of these sites are so tight
mhm,
that maneuvering around them with how tight some of these building envelopes are, and trying to operate in the buffer zone might do more damage trying to move a 1,000-pound rock and
oh,
put it in place. That would be my concern about the boulders in particular.
mhm,
The pipes, I just think, again, I'm on the same page as you, Wendy, as far as them being sort of a eyesore, and they're not easy to move based on the depth they're dug to in case any of these wetlands do change. That would be something as a homeowner, I would be like, well, what if the line goes away, or what if the line moves up? Like, do I have to dig these things up and put them in again?
mm,
But signage has always been something I've seen throughout my career that seems to work, and it can be hung on trees up high, so it's out of sight, out of mind, unless somebody looks up there and says, hey, we can request someone to climb a ladder and put a sign up there. But it's really just about awareness, and however we get that awareness, that's the goal.
mhm. Okay, so do we just put our thinking caps on and table this for another discussion time?
Yeah, I
Sounds
mean,
good.
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
I just
Harry
come up
says, yeah.
come up with some more ideas, or maybe find some innovative ones, or think of something.
I mean,
Well, now-
signages on trees would be fine that is, 6 feet or 7, whatever, like, so that people actually can see it. But not all wetlands are gonna have trees right by the edge of it, so that you can actually put something on it. I mean, they'd be
Signpost.
there, so like, no whatever, no building, no dumping, nothing out beyond here because it's wetlands, but.
Sure.
All
Yeah.
right, so thinking caps, and we'll come back around to that.
Yep.
All right,
Sounds good to me.
anything else, folks? Anything else? Harry or Sarah?
Um, I'm just gonna share one thing about signs from all
Yep.
of my past experience in my other jobs dealing with regulations and wildlife and all that. No one
Mhm.
reads signs. Just gonna put it out there. Signs, in my experience, have not been that helpful.
Not effective.
You really have to push it. So, but we can think more, and I'm sure Eileen will probably have some opinions.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Well, with that, do we have another motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Excellent.
I will second.
Super. And
sure?
roll call vote, Harry,
Aye.
Sarah,
I
myself, aye.
Good night.
Excellent. Thank you very much, everybody.
you
Vernon
all.
Street's off the page now. For now.
I know. I'm sure it's not the last we've seen of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
All right.
I'll see you all soon.
All right.
Right.
I'm gonna
Thank
print
you,
that thing
guys.
out, Nicole. I'll try to drop it off